Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Congratulations, we finished all the content for the school year, this crazy school year. So we are quickly approaching the AP exam time. So I thought now would be a good time to talk to you a little bit about the AP exam. I'm hoping you've been reading your emails, particularly your school email, because you're going to be getting a lot of emails from College Board, some really important ones that contain what they call test tickets, which is going to be your way to gain access to the AP Bio exam, as well as your other AP exams if you have any. For the future. So please make sure that you have looked at your email. And also, you might want to test logging into your College Board account, like your AP Classroom account, because I think that's going to be connected somehow, though I'm not quite sure yet. So anyway, as you probably have heard, the AP exams are going to be modified this year to be taken at home, and they're going to modify it in a way that's going to prevent you from being able to just cheat off of somebody. That's essentially what their main concern is. So our exam is going to be Monday, May 18th. We're in the middle session, Central Time. It's 1 o'clock. If you live in different time zones, it's obviously going to be something different, but ours is at 1 p.m. Let me give you a little detail. The test itself should only take 45 minutes. Well, it will only take 45 minutes because that's the max time you get. There's going to be 2 FRQs. That's it. There will be no multiple choice questions whatsoever. I've been listening to a lot of online meetings and webinars with the director of curriculum for College Board. And they basically have alluded to the fact that there's not going to be a lot of content like memorization. It's mostly going to be application of skills. And that's a way to, make sure that one student is not necessarily going to be able to just cheat right off of another student. Plus, that's also, kind of a good thing because, you may not remember all the details of every topic in the class. They're only going to give you 1 or 2 topics. So hopefully you'll get lucky. We'll all get lucky and do pretty well. So the first question is going to be the long one, and that one's going to be a 25-minute question. You then will have 5 minutes to digitally submit your answer. Okay, I'm a little nervous with some, I'm assuming your home Wi-Fi. You might be a little nervous as well. So I would make sure that I give myself plenty, probably more than 5 minutes of time to submit my answer. And I'll talk to you about how you're going to do that as well. There's going to be a second question, which is like a mid-range question that is shorter, and you'll get 15 minutes to submit that one as well. So, and by the way, and then 5 minutes, 15 minutes to write it, 5 minutes to submit your answer. They have expressed to the teachers that they are going to be very strict, that if your answer is not in, then it is not in, and that's it. So they're not going to be, receiving thousands of phone calls about people about their Wi-Fi. So I kind of guess it's up to you between now and then to try to solve that problem for yourself. If it means having to go to a friend's house, hopefully, and take the AP exam because they have really good internet, maybe that's, something you should think about. I hate sketchy internet. I guess we'll see what happens. I also hope the website, whatever they're using, doesn't crash too. I don't know. Well, let's hope for the best. Okay, so obviously it's a take-home, at-home test. So they're not really concerned about what you have in front of you. So you can have your phone out, you can have an iPad, your tablet, obviously, a laptop, a desktop. You can use whatever device you're most comfortable with for this exam. Even your cell phone. The idea is that whatever app you are viewing the questions on, that's the app that you need to type with. The only exception to that is if you want to handwrite, you could then take a picture of it, email it to yourself, and then submit that, like PDF attachment as your answer for the exam. So you are more than welcome to type or to handwrite everything. But obviously choose what you feel most comfortable with. So as I was saying, the options are you type your answers directly into or onto whatever format that you're going to be using. I have no idea what it's going to look like. Or you can handwrite your answer, take a picture of it with your iPad or your phone, and you can submit it that way. So whatever way you're more comfortable. If you have crap handwriting, obviously I would suggest typing it. And plus it's usually just faster for most people. Not unless you're a bad typist, then maybe not. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the two styles of questions. The first question they chose to use, and by the way, this is the real kicker. You guys were going to be the guinea pigs this year for the new AP exam format. So you were going to be getting all new FRQ styled questions. So I have, very little information and very few samples. They haven't even released a sample yet, but a sample of a type of question or a type of question style for each of these. But they have given us some details, so it's not like, we're going in blind here. So the first question would have been, in the real exam, actually question number 1 on the FRQ. And remember I said that the questions at the beginning of the test are the long ones, and they take the most time, and they have the most ways to earn points, and they're going to involve a lot of different skills and knowledge. So the idea here is you're going to be interpreting and evaluating an experimental result. So they're going to present you with some kind of experiment that you've probably never heard of or seen before. You're going to get background information about what the heck is going on. So you're definitely going to want to read that. You're going to be presented with some kind of data, whether it be in a data table, a graph, or any number of ways. And then they're going to ask you tons of questions about it. So the types of questions they will ask you are very specific. Part A is going to be something about describing or explaining the biological concept. So this is the part that's the content of the class, more than likely. It's kind of like, what's going on, or what do you know about this in terms of science? So that's where you'll get your most direct knowledge, like memorization kind of stuff that you picked up from class. Part B, notice is weighted the most, is about identifying the experimental design procedures. So experimental design is where we had left off. Right before we left school, we were talking about our mealworm lab, where you would be designing an experiment. So it would be good and wise to review parts of the experiment, identifying variables, independent, dependent, identifying relationships and trends between variables, controls, constants, experimentals, hypothesis. I don't know where they're going with that, but I'm going to guess like you're going to be asked, what's the independent variable or something, along that effect. Part C will be analyzing the data, like establishing the trend, as the, independent variable does this, the dependent variable does that. So identifying the relationships. Now you could be identifying it through a data table though, or a graph. So understanding how to read a data table and read a graph, which is kind of why we were doing that a little bit with our photosynthesis and respiration questions at the end. Next and last would be to predict the future. So make and justify a prediction. So they may ask you to continue the data point, like, hey, if this experiment were to run, with this independent variable or for this much time, in the future, what would you expect, the relationship between variables to be? Do you expect it to keep increasing, keep decreasing, or stay the same? And then being able to justify why. And remember, whenever you justify something, you have to provide evidence or reasoning as to why. So that's probably where you would get the most points in that question. So that's a long one. I mean, how it's going to be scored, I'm not really sure. I guess we'll find out. But there are definitely skills that you have been acquiring for years about this one. So I feel pretty strongly about this. A lot better than the number 1 FRQs in the past, because those were always pretty crazy. Okay, the second question is going to be conceptual analysis, which means nothing to you. But basically, you're going to get what they're calling an authentic scenario. So once again, it's going to be a real-life science situation or concept, something that you probably have never heard of before, but maybe the idea is that it will be closely related to something that we've already done. So for example, when we were doing signal transduction pathways and we studied a few of them, like what does adrenaline do in the pathway, they might give you another hormone that's not adrenaline, and then you have to kind of use your skills about, how we worked through an adrenaline problem and apply it to something new. So that's the idea with authentic scenarios. And I highlighted here the big piece here is that it's going to be something in biology that's supposed to happen a normal way, and then they're going to show you, oh, well, here's a disruption. Like, what if this receptor protein has a mutation? Then how is everything going to change? So that's what we mean by disruption. Okay, so this is only a 4-pointer, so it's pretty straightforward. Describing the biological concept, explaining it. So Describing can often just be like identifying what's going on in the scenario. Explaining, of course, means the why. Why is it happening, or why does it work the way it does? Predicting the cause or effect of a change in the system, and then telling why you made that particular prediction. So that one's usually more straightforward. Obviously, they've given you less time, so we hope that it won't take you as long on that one, but you can kind of see where the points are going to be earned. So before the actual AP exam, please make sure you review this so that you know, and of course they're going to have bolded command terms, but review it so that you know exactly the style. I'm hoping that College Board is going to release a couple of sample FRQ questions for you to practice with. And as soon as those become available, I will let you know for sure. Okay, so once again, our testing date is May 18th at 1 o'clock from your device at home. Now, there is a makeup date. However, it is not like an optional, like, oh, I want to take it June 3rd. That has to be confirmed now, if not last week. I'm not even sure of the date. But basically, that has to be pre-approved by school. So you have to have a legit reason why you could not make the May 18th date. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, please be here or be there and ready to take the test on May 18th so that, there are no problems. So that's all the information I have about the test for now. Things to come in the future will be information about reviewing. So look forward to it.